Hi, I'm Kendra with Where's the Moon Astrology, and today I am talking about Sun trine the Moon in the birth chart. So, before I get into this, I should talk quickly about the Sun's energy and the Moon's energy. The Sun is going to be your conscious will. This is going to be your ego. It's how you're expressing your creative drive, your creative spark. It's going to be the traits that you take pride in about yourself and the traits you're kind of consciously trying to project. The moon, however, this is the unconscious self, your instinctual emotional reactions, the way you behave around people you're very close to, because the moon is your heart, that is your emotional center. So you're not going to be showing this to everyone in your life. Um, Mainly just the people who are very close to you are going to be seeing the traits of your moon sign. Um, However, with Sun trine the moon, this is an easy aspect and it's a very nice one. And the reason I say that is because the trine represents easy flow of energy. Generally, this is going to happen between two signs that are in the same, or two planets that are in the same element. So, for instance, I have Moon trine Mercury. So I have Moon at 28 degrees Sagittarius and then Mercury at 28 degrees Aries. So Sagittarius and Aries are both fire signs. So the fact that they're falling in about the same degree um, in of fire signs. That means they're forming a trine aspect to one another. So Sun trine Moon is going to generally happen between two planets. I keep wanting to say signs. It's going to generally happen between two planets that are in the same element as one another, meaning that the planets are pretty much in agreement with one another. They're expressing the same kind of energy, perhaps in slightly different ways, but they work together very easily. So the trine represents natural talents, things that come very easily to you, energy that you don't even have to call on necessarily. It's just there in your personality. It represents things that just are so second nature to you that you can almost take them for granted. So, Sun trine the moon is generally showing compatibility between your ego and your emotional nature. Now, any aspect between the sun and the moon can show a bit of kind of ego sensitivity, being since it's a relationship between the ego and the emotional nature, which the moon is very sensitive. It's a very sensitive planet. It is the emotional center. It does rule the very emotional sign of Cancer. So it's generally just showing a compatibility. So there might be a little bit of um, emotional reactivity with this aspect, but generally it's not going to be really difficult to deal with. Oh, let me turn this off. So your emotional nature and your ego, so where you're consciously directing your attention and where you're unconsciously directing your attention, these are occurring in very similar signs and they're in perfect compatibility with one another. So you can easily express your emotions. Your emotions aren't like a threat to your ego, so you don't feel this. There might be some of that sensitivity. It's just as part of your conscious personality, being that the moon is making an aspect to the sun. But generally, it's not going to be a threat to your ego. So you're already kind of identifying with the, say you have sun in Cancer and moon in Scorpio, okay? So you're already consciously identifying with the Cancerian traits. You're consciously identifying with this more emotional nature. This is how you're expressing yourself. You take pride in being someone who is very home centered, someone who is very caring, emotional, someone who is kind of maternal. And then you have the moon in Scorpio, which is very emotional. It's a little more private than Cancer about the emotions. They can appear a little bit more rough around the edges or whatever. But moon in Scorpio is another water sign, so obviously deeply emotional. So when the moon is expressing, it's not a threat to the sun's ego. So, for instance, if you had, the sun in, or the moon in Scorpio and the sun in Aquarius, making a square aspect, it could be kind of a threat. Expressing your emotional nature could be kind of a threat to the Aquarius ego, which is much more detached than Aquarius or than Scorpio. So it can be the trine aspect is just showing perfect compatibility. You can easily express yourself. You probably derive emotional comfort from, creativity, from feeling that you are, the center of attention, that you've done something worth being praised for. The ego is very much part of what is going to satisfy you emotionally. So you really want to be praised for the things that you do right. But none of this is like threatening in your personality. You can just easily express your emotions, easily express your ego, and one is not threatening the other. So I don't quite have the trine aspect, but I have my sun in Aries and my moon in Sagittarius, so the same element. When I'm expressing my Sagittarius moon, it's not a threat to my Aries sun. They're both highly independent. They're both action oriented, even though they're in different modalities. Um, so you have the mutable modality of Sagittarius and the cardinal modality of Aries. They're in different modalities, but the actual energy of the signs work very well together. Whereas if I had a Cancer moon, the deeply emotional, sensitive, domicile Cancer moon square my Aries sun, it wouldn't go over so well because I'd feel very sensitive about expressing my deeply emotional self, being that I have this Aries sun, which is very independent and doesn't want to express that. So generally, this is just a very nice aspect. You can easily express yourself, you can easily express your emotions, and they work together perfectly. So you're not feeling threatened by one or the other. Anyway, that was the end of my Sun Trine Moon video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. And I did want to remind you that I offer all kinds of chart readings. I offer birth chart readings. Now I'm offering planetary report readings. So just focusing really intensely on one planet, one placement in your birth chart, and uh, deeply dissecting that one placement. And I'm now offering those as video readings instead of written readings. So that's something new. I think that will enable me to get it to you a lot faster. And it would be a little more personal as well. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video and have a great day.